The Ember Lake House. The rain beat down like broken rhythm on the roof of the cabin. The kind that doesn't ask permission. The kind that drowns silence. Sienna pressed her forehead to the cool window pane. Her breath fogged the glass. Behind her, her suitcase sat half, zipped on the couch. The bruise on her arm was already fading. The one on her chest wasn't. She could still hear Logan's voice in her head, the sharpness. The way he always made her feel small, like her silence was the only thing that kept the peace. But she'd left. Finally. Traded the city skyline for a night bus and her mother's old cabin by Ember Lake. It had sat empty for years, just like her. The fire had gone out. Her clothes were damp, and she had no idea what would come next. But she had left, and that was something. She lit the lantern. Its flame flickered weakly. She wrapped herself in a blanket, knees drawn to her chest, and for the first time in months, she cried without hiding it. The next morning came cold and gray. Fog curled across the lake like breath. Sienna stepped outside in an oversized sweater, bare legs catching dew. She stood on the creaking deck, watching mist rise from the water. That's when she saw him. A man waist deep in the lake, chopping fallen branches with slow, practiced strokes. He moved with focus, like someone who didn't speak much, didn't need to. He saw her, stopped, raised a hand in greeting, then walked to shore. He was taller up close, broad-shouldered, weathered in the way some men are, not broken, just shaped by seasons. You must be the girl in cabin 7. I'm Cal. I keep the paths clear, live up by the ridge. She nodded, unsure what to say. His eyes didn't search her. They met hers and held still. She liked that.
I'm Sienna.
He offered a small smile, then held out a folded flannel. You're shivering. You'll want dry wood. I'll bring some by tonight. Storm's coming in. She hesitated, then took it. It smelled like cedar and something deeper. Warmth she didn't expect. She buried her arms inside it. It nearly swallowed her. She tried to thank him, but her voice caught. He just nodded once, like he understood, and turned back toward the trees. Cal came back that evening, with an armful of chopped wood and a bag of groceries he claimed were extras. He didn't stay long, just dropped them on the porch and gave her a soft look. You don't owe me anything. Sometimes kindness is just that. Then he walked away into the dark. No pressure. No lingering. Sienna stood in the doorway, wrapped in his flannel, watching his shadow vanish between trees. She lit the fire, curled on the couch, and for the first time in too long she felt safe, not from the world, from herself. It rained for 2 days. She didn't leave the cabin, but Cal came by, left things on the porch, fresh bread, a thermos of coffee, extra socks. Each time she peeked through the curtain, just enough to watch him, his shoulders, the way his hair curled at the neck in the rain, the calm in him. By the 3rd morning, she stepped out barefoot, met him on the path.
You don't have to keep showing up.
But I want to. She looked at him, eyes tracing the lines of his hands, strong, scarred, gentle.
You always like this.
Only when someone looks like they forgot they deserve to be held. Her breath caught. She looked away, then back.
I don't know how to be touched anymore. Not without flinching.
Cal stepped closer, not too close. Just enough for her to feel the heat of him. He raised a hand, stopped, waited. She leaned forward, let his fingers brush her cheek. A slow, patient touch, like he was reminding her skin how to listen. Not take, just be given to. And she cried, not from pain, but from the quiet. That night, the storm hit harder. Lightning across the lake, wind snapping through the trees. The fire guttered once, then flared back. She heard the knock, opened the door. Cal stood soaked, shirt clinging to him. A fresh gash on his arm. Tree came down. I cut it out the trail. Didn't see the branch. She pulled him in without thinking. Made him sit by the fire. Got a towel. Pressed it to his arm.
You should have come sooner.
I didn't want to scare you. Didn't want you to think.
I don't think, not with you. I feel.
She unbuttoned his shirt. Slowly, hands steady, eyes locked to his. Steam rose off him as the fire warmed the wet cotton, his chest bare. Tuned, not sculpted, just real. He watched her, let her move, let her touch. Never took, only gave space. She knelt in front of him, placed her palm over his heart, felt it beat strong under her hand.
I need to remember this. What it feels like when someone doesn't want to own me.
He took her wrist, lifted it slowly, kissed her inner wrist. Once, twice, nothing rushed, nothing promised, just presence, and it was enough. The storm raged outside. Inside, time moved differently. Not fast, not urgent, just slow, careful. Sienna sat beside him on the rug, legs folded beneath her. Her fingers rested lightly on his knee. He didn't move, didn't flinch, just breathed. She traced a faint scar on his shoulder.
How'd you get this one?
He smiled without showing teeth. Fell off a roof fixing someone's shingles. Didn't charge them for it. She laughed softly, then quieted. Her hand stayed there, resting against warm skin.
You're not what I thought you'd be. Most men don't listen when I say no.
I've never been most men, and you never deserved any less than all of me. His voice was low, steady, like the ground beneath her feet. She leaned into him, laid her head on his shoulder. The skin still damp, still warm. He wrapped one arm around her. His fingers found the small of her back, not exploring, just holding, anchoring.
I don't want to be afraid of this.
You don't have to be. I'll never ask you to run faster than your feet want to go. The fire cracked. The room glowed amber. The wind outside howled and passed, but inside nothing hurried. Sienna lifted her face, looked into his eyes. They were darker in the firelight, like warm earth.
I want to feel something real. Not sex, not escape, just you.
Cal leaned in slowly. Let her see it coming. Let her pull away if she needed to. She didn't. Their lips met softly, then deeper. Not with hunger, but with depth. The kind that wraps around the ribs and says you are safe here. His hand cupped the side of her neck, thumb brushing the edge of her jaw. Her fingers slid beneath the back of his shirt, tracing the ridges of muscle, warm skin, real heat. He laid her down on the rug, body next to hers. Not over, not above, beside. She let him kiss the inside of her arm, her collarbone, the curve of her shoulder. Each touch asked. Each kiss waited. And when her hands pulled him closer, he listened. They didn't undress quickly. Every button was a choice. Every inch of skin revealed felt sacred. No need to rush, no need to chase. They had nowhere else to be, no one else to answer to. Just breath, just skin. Just the rhythm of two people remembering how to be seen. Dawn was pale and soft. Mist hung over the lake like a veil. Sienna woke with her head on Cal's chest, his arm around her waist. The blanket twisted around them. The fire had burned low. She could hear his heart, steady, unbothered, like it had always known she'd be here. She lifted her head, traced her fingers across his sternum, watched the way his eyelids fluttered open. Good morning.
Is it?
His smile was quiet. It is now. They lay like that, breathing, touching without asking questions. There was nothing uncertain between them. Just presence. Just yes, she whispered.
I don't want to go back to anything.
You don't have to. There's nothing waiting behind you but ghosts. Here there's breath. There's time. There's me. The next few days passed like something dreamed. They worked side by side, stacked firewood, cooked simple meals, washed dishes with hands brushing underwater. At night, they returned to each other, not just in bed, in every moment, every glance, every shared silence. She watched him fix a broken step, shirt off, back damp with sweat. And instead of shame or flinch, she felt desire pure. Not tangled with fear, he watched her brush her hair, tie it back in the mirror, and smiled like she was a sunrise. Their bodies grew bolder, more familiar. Fingers traced lower, kisses deepened. Breath tangled. She let him undress her in the half-light. Let his hands map the parts of her she used to hide. He whispered her name like a vow. She touched him like he was hers already. And when they moved together, when her back arched under his hands and his breath caught at her throat, it wasn't just release, it was recognition. A return, a home. The lake was still that morning. A thin line of gold shimmered on the surface. Cal stood at the edge of the porch, mug in hand. Sienna stepped behind him, wrapped her arms around his waist, laid her cheek against his back.
I keep expecting to wake up.
He turned, pulling her into him. You're awake, and you're here, and I want you to stay. She looked up at him. Her voice cracked just enough to mean something.
I think I've been waiting for this longer than I knew.
He kissed her forehead. You were never waiting. You were surviving, but now you get to live. She nodded, then smiled.
Then let's live. Here, with firewood and fog. And whatever else this place wants to give us.
Cal kissed her slowly, and behind them, the cabin breathed warm. The lake shimmered, and the storm, at last, had passed. Weeks passed, then months. Time did not rush here. It unfolded, like linen sheets in morning light. Sienna found herself in the rhythm of Ember Lake, chopping herbs by the window, running barefoot to the dock before sunrise, laughing mid-kiss when Cal's hands wrapped around her waist while she stirred soup. She learned how he liked his eggs. He learned which side she liked to sleep on. They didn't talk about forever. They didn't need to. It was already in the way. He always found her hand in the dark. One evening, when the air was thick with late summer heat, they stood beneath the stars. She wore nothing but his flannel. He wore nothing but skin and silence. They didn't need words that night. Only breath. Only the slow roll of her name on his tongue, over and over, until it no longer sounded like pain. Only belonging. Only home. He touched her like she was glass, but not fragile, just sacred. She touched him like a man made of earth and storm. Solid. Enduring. Their bodies moved with the patience of people who no longer chased. They didn't chase. They chose. Again and again. Each moan a prayer. Each sigh a thread tying them tighter. And when the wind picked up through the pines, when the lanterns outside flickered, he pressed his forehead to hers and whispered the words he'd never forced, never rushed. I love you. She didn't cry. She didn't need to. She just held him tighter, felt the ache ease inside her.
And whispered it back, not like surrender, but like a spell cast with full belief.
They made love like that, with mouths open, eyes locked, hands gripping not in hunger, but in knowing. Afterward, she lay against his chest. Listened to the heartbeat she now called hers. She spoke into his skin.
I think I was always meant to break, so I could be rebuilt here. With you.
Cal kissed the top of her head. You weren't broken. You were buried. And now you're blooming. The moon lit their bodies. The fire hummed low. The lake held their reflection, wrapped in silver and softness. No more hiding. No more running. Just skin and breath. And a life that finally fit. And when morning came, they didn't need to speak. They just woke up, looked at each other, and smiled like people who had nothing left to fear. Only love, only peace.